Welcome to We Have Cool Friends, our cool show where we talk to our cool friends about their cool lives. I'm Tim Gettys, and this is Andrew McLean.
Thanks for having me here, man.
Very excited about this. You might know this man from my many stories that I've told on the Kind of Funny podcast involving the Disney World's Star-Lord. This is him, if you can't tell by his striking good looks.
No.
This is him. We're in for a good one today. How are you doing?
Doing great. You know, loving the San Francisco weather. It's not Georgia or Florida. I can wear jeans.
It's
not
fantastic.
die of heat stroke.
Yeah, because last time I saw you was at, well, I guess not last time. Last time was at Comic-Con.
Yeah, I was still dying of heat stroke, so it was keeping the theme alive, yeah.
But before that, I saw you in Disney World with my boy James Burke, and we were not prepared for the heat there. I was wearing my bomber jacket, I was wearing jeans, and that shit had to go pretty quickly. I ended up in shorts.
In my defense, I tried to warn you. I was like, it's going to be pretty hot, and then...
Fashion over function until I'm dying. And then it's just function to live. This is We Have Cool Friends each and every week right here on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We get together with some of our cool friends to talk about them. You can get the show live on Twitch, or you can watch it later on youtube.com/kindoffunny, roosterteeth.com. You can listen to it as a podcast. Search your favorite podcast service for We Have Cool Friends. If you want to give us some thumbs up, if you want to give us the 5 stars, if you want to give us the 10-finger like, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Give it to us, please. Hey, have you never heard of the 10-finger like, Kev?
No. What's the 10-finger like?
You're going to like it, man. You're going to like it 10 times. It's great. You can get the show ad-free by going to patreon.com/kindoffunny. Just like our Patreon producers did, I don't have them ready right now, so you're going to have to bear with me for just 1 second.
Filling time.
As I find out. I'm going to imagine it's the Mind Freak and the Predator, but it is Al Tribesman, the Predator, and David Meitel.
The Mind Freak. I wanted to do it. I missed it.
Yeah, no, I love it, man. So let's start there then, actually. Who are you, and how do you know who we are?
Yeah, so I'm Andrew McLean, born and raised in Athens, Georgia, and I'm a huge geek. So was listening to Kevin Smith's podcast one day, and then found you guys on there, and it was
the beginning of our journey.
Yeah, it was great. So I've been listening pretty much every week. You know, all the shows, Games Daily, the Kind of Funny podcast, KFAF for Streamies.
Of course.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. So, yeah, been a long-time best friend.
When we first met you, it was at Comic-Con last year, so 2018,
now,
right?
You guys don't remember this, but you met me before that.
Really?
Yes.
What?
So you guys were in a huddle at Comic-Con, I want to say... It was the first year the Daredevil Netflix series came out, and I did a Daredevil cosplay. And you wouldn't remember me because I was in the mask, but you guys were huddled up, and I was like, I know you guys. So I went over and said, hey, real fast, and bailed out. But that was the first time I met you, but I mean, I was Daredevil then.
There you go. Yeah. I love that, because then the time I remember, you came to our meet and greet we did at the Petco Park.
That's right, with the Rocket League stuff.
Yes, we did a Rocket League thing last year, and... you were dressed as Burt, right?
Burt Macklin, FBI. Best damn agent they had until he was framed for stealing the president's rubies.
And why were you him?
I was Chris Pratt, sort of a lookalike, I guess, for Disney, for the Star-Lord show, the Guardians of the Galaxy show. So I always got told, you just look like Chris Pratt or Chris Hemsworth or some combination of the Chris's.
Yeah. Why did your mom name you Andrew?
I don't know. She missed out on an opportunity.
Yeah.
So decided to go as Burt Macklin because of this resemblance, and then also Parks and Rec, man, great show.
Yeah,
watch it.
Yeah, and the day before that, you were Thor.
Yes, Thor Odinson from Asgard. Yes. I had the shorter hair and I had the red marks on my face from Thor Ragnarok. Yeah.
And you showed me and Nick the picture of you as Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
And I mean, you can just imagine, viewers at home, the sounds that Nick Scarpino made. He was inappropriate, to say the least. He was impressed by you, by your body.
He lives up, to that persona in person.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just an act.
Yeah. Kev, can you bring up his Instagram and try to find Thor?
I'm working on it.
Thank you. Here, yeah. But yeah, like that blew our mind. And then you started talking to us and you're just like, hey, I work at Disney World, Tim. And I was like, holy shit. Yeah. That is awesome.
When I found Nick first, he was like, what, you work at Disney? You work at Disney? You got to meet Tim, And I was like, yeah, I know Tim's, where is he? And yeah, it was love at first sight.
Yeah, absolutely. So then you were telling me that you were Star-Lord at Disney World. Obviously, I was stoked about that. I started following you on Instagram, and then eventually I was like, all right, I was in Florida for the Full Sail thing with Greg.
Right.
And I was like, dude, we're doing Disney World. We got to do this.
Yeah.
James Burke's like, I'm down to fly. Bring this up, man. Yeah, exactly.
I got you. Yeah, that's. I think that was at the Avengers Infinity War premiere. Yeah,
so cool.
I got stopped a couple times to take some photos, but that hammer's pretty heavy.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So then we spent like an entire weekend at Disney World, and it was awesome. We did everything. Like we hit the entire all the parks.
Yeah, like you said, open to close. We hit it all, man. Thank you to all the friends who helped me out with that. I have some awesome friends who work for Disney who went and set us up with some great fast passes and VIP opportunities because they knew how big of a fan you were, and it was your first trip to Walt Disney World.
Oh yeah, man, they did it right. Like it was fantastic. I appreciate everybody. I told that whole story on the Kind of Funny podcast. You can find that. But bring up the Stan Lee one.
Oh, that's not me. That's just a picture of
gotcha,
Stan.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But because Stan has talked about you before.
Yeah, so the first time I ever went to Comic-Con, I met Stan Lee. And I don't know, do you know this story?
Yeah.
Yeah, about when he pulled me up on stage. So I was in my Spider-Man costume, and Andrew Garfield had just done his, oh, look, I'm just a guy, and then I took off my terrible Party City costume, and I'm going to ask questions at a panel. And I was the next, Comic-Con over wearing my legit Spider-Man suit. And then Stan Lee's handler was like, hey, Stan's about to come out on stage. You want to, hop up there? And I was like, yeah. And I didn't take my mask off. So when they handed me the microphone on stage, like, what's your name? I was like, Andrew. Well, everybody thought it was Andrew Garfield. They started rushing the stage. And I was like, thousands of people started coming because he did this last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were some disappointed kids in the crowd when I took the mask off, but then I looked over at Stan and he was just like, wow, there's a real person under there. I thought it was just Spider-Man. And it was
gotta
the
love
coolest
it,
thing.
man.
But he's featured me on his Instagram account a couple times.
Yeah, super rad. Bring up one of the Star-Lords, Kev. So then there was this.
Yes.
This, would you define as thus far your big break?
Easily. Yeah, this has been the Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix live show was and still is probably my favorite show I've ever done. I mean, the cast, the crew, everyone really made that special. And it was a lot of fun. Star-Lord's he's a cool dude, You can get away with a lot. You can make some jokes. You can do some dance moves. You don't have to be, super regal.
Yeah. So it's Disney. It's Disney parks.
Yes.
There is a fandom to those. There is
absolutely
just ridiculous amount of rules and crazy Disneyness and production and magic that goes into all of it. You were part of one of the shows. Right? What did that kind of feel like to be out there being Star-Lord? Like two kids, you are Star-Lord.
It was sort of being the quarterback on campus. It was just, you're the guy. And it was kind of a responsibility too, because everybody who would come to see the show, you'd want to make sure that you gave them that great, performance and that great show, because this is their first time seeing it. It's millionth time doing it, but their first time seeing it. So it was a lot of responsibility, but man, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. That's probably some of the most fun I've ever had, was being on stage.
What is the show?
So it was Guardians of the Galaxy Awesome Mix Live. I think it might be coming back next summer. I can't confirm. But it was basically Star-Lord is coming down to Epcot because a terrible Xandarian chamber orchestra from Xandar, which I guess is now decimated, rest in peace, they were playing their awful orchestrated songs, and Star-Lord comes in and is like, hey, this is terrible. Let me help you out. Listen to my awesome mix, and I'll show you guys how to be rock stars. And yeah, so he obviously achieves it because he's awesome. And the show was, then Gamora comes in. She has a cool girl power bit. Groot makes appearances. It was kind of fun for the whole family.
Kev, I sent a link, a time code link to the Awesome Mix Live in there. Yeah, that one. Bring this up real quick. No audio though. Don't want to get copyright strikes.
Right.
With the Awesome Mix.
Yeah. We want you back, or I want you back. Yeah.
So this
Jackson. This is Come and Get Your Love, I think. Yeah. But the dance moves, man.
So you just did this how many times a day?
I think it was 5 times a day we had shows.
How long was
each show was about half an hour, 5 times a day, Florida heat with
with
Star-Lord's
all of
awesome.
that.
I mean, it's made for space.
Yeah.
Not Florida. Yeah, I think he would have been in some cut-off jeans and some sleeveless shirts for sure.
Yeah.
If it was made for Florida.
So, okay, you can cut off, Kev. So there's Gamora and Star-Lord. So Star-Lord, let me take a step back. How does Disney work? Like, how does it work when there's characters? Like,
right.
I've heard so much things about, like, you can't see two Mickey Mouse because it ruins the illusion.
There's only one Mickey. I mean, everybody knows that. You see him in the parks, and you're like, well, I don't know, Andrew. I saw Mickey in the parade, and then I saw him on Main Street. Well, guess what? Mickey saw you in the parade, and he saw you at Main Street, and he's wondering if there are 2 of you. So
damn.
Think about that next time.
They're gonna get you. But so we've seen all the videos that go viral of like the Gastons kind of staying in character or all of that stuff. Like, is that enforced?
Yeah, I mean, if you're meeting Gaston, you are meeting the real Gaston. That is him. I was on stage doing a show. I am not the real Star-Lord. I am not Kristoff. That's them.
So you were Kristoff in a couple of the
Frozen shows. So, but if you go meet Kristoff or Anna and Elsa, you're meeting the real Anna and Elsa and Kristoff.
So you also were Tarzan back in the day.
Yeah. So I worked with Tarzan, which was very interesting. He doesn't wear much, just a loincloth, some great dreadlocks. Not my look, but he pulled it off, I think. And fun fact, he's very hairless. Very tan and very hairless. I imagine that there was much nair used.
This episode is brought to you by Manscaped. That's not a lie. So
wow, really?
Get on it.
There you go. I could have used that. Jeez.
So okay, like with that, you are Star-Lord,
right?
But you're friends with Tarzan.
So I was friends with Tarzan, friends with Prince Charming. Friends with some of the swing thugs and the parade they had, the Festival of Fantasy parade. So when you see those characters, you go and meet those characters. Those are the real ones. If you see the show, they're mic'd up. It's an equity production. It's something that is different from actually going and meeting the characters.
So behind the scenes, then, that essentially means that you being Star-Lord on the show, you're an actor,
right?
Whereas if you're doing the meet and greets and stuff, and you're in the parks, you're the character.
If you go meet Star-Lord,
the characters are there.
That's who it is. Yeah, and then people always say, well, Star-Lord, you don't look like, if you go meet Star-Lord, you don't look like Chris Pratt. Yeah, because Chris Pratt's just an actor, but in the Disney lore, you're meeting the actual Star-Lord, who just happens to be at Disney 24/7. Don't ask questions.
Disney, man. It's great. Yeah. That's so funny. So I remember when we were at Disney World, we were just chilling, and someone came up to you. Well, actually, there's multiple stories here because you're famous there. Like as Star-Lord. Like people know you as the good Star-Lord.
Gosh, I don't know about good, but I'm just sort of a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
As a person with many friends that know Disney very well and care about Disney a lot, they all refer to you as the good Star-Lord.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But yeah, it's in that environment, it's like you were saying, like you guys at E3. I can go and walk the streets, go to the grocery store, nobody knows who I am. I think even like Cameron Cuff was talking about how those 4 days in San Diego in the summer, he's famous, but then he goes anywhere else and no one knows.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in Disney. So there, Star-Lord's on all the billboards and on all the signs, on the brochures and stuff. So people knew, but outside of that, but I mean, it made for some interesting times.
It did, and my favorite was people coming up to you, and we kind of got used to it throughout the days, where it was just like, oh my God, it's Star-Lord, and they're trying to take pictures with you. But then one woman came up to you, losing her mind to take a picture with you. Because she legitimately thought you were Chris Hemsworth.
Yep. I mean, in her defense, I was wearing the Marvel.
He had the MCU disguise on, man.
100%.
He had the sunglasses and the hat.
And I was sleeveless, had a good tan going. Probably got in a pump before I went to the park.
It was fantastic, man. Yeah. With me and James next to you.
I was very tempted just to go.
They're like, why is Chris Hemsworth hanging out with these guys?
I mean, you got to have your own posse, your entourage, right? No. But yeah, it's... Yeah, she was super shaky. I felt so bad though, because I'm like, she had the confidence to come over and but it's happened so many times. I think that same week, I think I ended up flying out somewhere, and I was on a plane, and someone thought I was Chris Hemsworth. And then I went to Universal, and this little kid comes up to me, and he just kind of tugs on the edge of my shirt. And he's like, "Excuse me, sir, are you Chris Hemsworth? Are you Thor?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm actually Chris Hemsworth, and I play Thor." And he's like, "Really?" I was like, "No, kid, but thank you so much. I appreciate it."
Live your life. You know what I mean? You gotta love that. So with Star-Lord, you are the Star-Lord, which means you are the Star-Lord for Disney World in the commercials that they use and all of that.
Yeah, if you see commercials with, the different Disney characters, they're all the same because it's the same person. If you meet Cinderella in the park, that's the same Cinderella you're seeing in the commercial because it's the same person. So for the shows, if they were to show some commercials of the shows, that would be me.
Yeah.
So that was me. They were on a whole international marketing campaign, I think, around that.
So with Disney World and Disneyland, would it be?
It's different. So they divide them hemispherically. So the Eastern Hemisphere is Disney World, and they control all the marketing for that. And then the Western Hemisphere is Disneyland, and they control all of that. So that way it keeps it in the States, but it also, you're not flying people to go do a commercial from World all the way to Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me you went to Paris
To
one
Paris,
time?
yeah, we got to go to Paris. That was a super fun trip. It was only like 4 days, and I think that's the most tired I've ever been in my life. It was jet lagged. Like 2 of the days were traveling, super early morning filming, but it was a blast. I definitely want to go back.
Kev, I sent assets, 2 videos. That would be in VLC. I want to pull this up real quick because we have this. Let's check this out first.
Oh, yeah, this is sweet.
No audio.
Yeah.
But so these are some of the commercials that they used, right?
Yeah, this guy ended up drawing Star-Lord for the show. It was pretty sweet.
Yeah, so like you get drawn as Star-Lord there and get Sirens Are on our end.
That's us.
And then this right here.
That's probably the coolest shot I have ever seen.
Can you go back, Kev,
been a part
and
of.
Pause it?
Because that means Iron Man was there, Black Panther was there, Spider-Man was there. I got to shake Iron Man's hand, and I almost
We got
cried.
Drax right there in between Black Widow and Captain America.
In between Black Widow, yeah, he's oh my gosh, standing super still.
There you go. But
it took me too long to catch on.
I love that you are the Star-Lord here, so you get to be in this commercially shoot with all of the other characters that are those characters.
Yeah, and these are that's the Captain America, the Gamora, and everything. I mean, it was so cool. And
Gamora looks amazing.
Oh, she's great. Definitely pretty fierce. But yeah, not pictured as I think Thor and Loki's on the other side, but yeah, that was probably the coolest team up shot I've ever been a part of.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
God, you can just hear the music. Just look at this, portals.
Oh man, I probably would have cried if that was playing.
Yeah. So this is all amazing. Do you feel like a rock star?
I definitely felt like it during the Awesome Mix Live show. I got to have all the benefits of being a rock star without actually having any talents, So everybody else would be singing and playing musical instruments, and I was just, dancing, acting like an idiot. But I mean, that's Star-Lord.
I love it, man. That's so great. So Star-Lord is such a different character than I'd imagine a lot of the other Disney ones are. Because when you're friends with Tarzan, you're acting like Tarzan, right?
Tarzan speaks very differently than we do. People always say, me Tarzan, me Jane, and that's not how he speaks. He says, Tarzan is speaking versus I'm speaking, so he'll speak differently. His physicality is different from us, but the same thing goes to Prince Charming. So Prince Charming is very regal and he's polished, and the way he speaks is different. So, I mean, that's when you go and meet all these characters. I mean, that's why they are who they are.
Do you go through like a training process? Does Disney kind of give you like a Bible of this is how they move, this is how they talk?
For the shows, absolutely, you go through rehearsals. Can't speak too much about the character side of it because, again, those are the real guys. So if you go and meet Elsa, she wasn't trained to be Elsa, she's Elsa. But for the shows, there's absolutely a rehearsal process. Overnights, it's pretty grueling, but you bond as a cast through that.
I love how pro wrestling this all is, where it's just like, is this Sasha Banks the character or Sasha Banks the person? It's cool.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Very similar.
So then for Star-Lord, though, I feel like that's very different because where Tarzan, it's like, oh, they talk this way. Star-Lord's more of just like a personality.
Oh, we blended together hardcore. People could tell if I had just done a show because it was, very bro dude, speaking a lot like Star-Lord does. Probably did the Running Man a few too many times. Yeah, so it's definitely a much more relaxed character because you can say things, you can do things, and it's not something that, if someone's playing Belle in the show, she really has to, embody that. But you can get away with so much more, making Michael Jackson references and whatnot.
Yeah. So Prince Charming, Star-Lord, Tarzan, all of this. Kristoff.
Yes.
From Frozen. Mm-hmm. You were telling me that it's one of your favorite memories at Disney, period. What was it?
So the show is a Frozen holiday wish. And if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It happens, I think, starting in November all the way through like January, the first week of January, maybe.
Don't play it yet, Kev.
And I think it's the only time I've ever really cried on stage was watching this thing. And it's completely magical. It's not the longest show. I think it's 8 minutes, but the castle lights up and hundreds of thousands of lights. I forgot how many, but I mean, it's ridiculous. And
so it was like the opening show of that one.
Yeah. So so they had the opening, and if you've watched like the live stream, this is what you would see.
So this was the big Christmas, like the lighting of the castle scene. Okay, Kev, bring this up. And you can see him down there. Like, can you hover over it? Yeah. So
Boom.
You're just chilling there.
In the fog.
You can have music for this just a little bit.
Magic, dude. Some magic.
That's so tight. All right, you can stop it here.
Yeah.
So you were just in front of the castle as this is happening with thousands of people behind you.
I'm up right now just watching it again. That's probably one of my favorite memories that I have at Disney. Was doing that, and the cast is great. I mean, the castle, so cool. I've actually, I don't know if I told you this. I've been up in Cinderella's suite, in there. Yeah,
well, Prince Charming, right?
Yeah, so that was the coolest thing. Was going up, everything's lined with the pure gold. And we walked up there, and the guy was like, "You know what you're standing on right now?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "It's 24 karat gold."
Oh my God, it's actually gold.
Yeah, I'm like, "Can I take it home with me? Can I pry some up?" But it's beautiful up there, and you can't pay to go in and rent out the suite. Normally Disney chooses families to go and do it, but you can find photos of it online. It's super cool.
Wow.
But I got to go up there, and you go up the magical elevator, and it was a complete mistake. I was not supposed to be there, but the guy was like, "You want to come in anyways?" I was like,
Yeah, dude, definitely.
What if I was like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna head back down."
Yeah.
No, but
so I also love how much of a network these parks kind of have, right? Especially for you out in Florida.
Right.
You have the Disney parks and there's also Universal. When I was with you, it seemed like you knew everybody.
Yeah.
You knew every show that we watched. You're like, oh, that dancer is this person. Or Timon is my friend.
Yeah,
all this stuff is like, that's the coolest sentence you could ever say.
You're a large family, and especially when you do a lot of things. I was very fortunate enough to be able to have a wide variety of experiences. And when you're able to do that, you meet a lot of people, and there's large casts and large families, and through those rehearsal processes, you really become a family. So you stay that way. So when you see everybody around the parks, they might be simply working as like an attendant, or they might be performing that day, and that's really when you work there, when you go to the parks, is to go and see those friends, do those performances. Someone's debuting in something new. That's the times for sure.
Did you ever have moments of getting sick of being there every day?
I don't think I did, to be honest. There was some periods of time when I was originally just going to be there for 6 months. I ended up staying for about 2.5 years. But it was because I felt like I had maxed out my potential. But they do a really good job. There's so many things that you can do there. And if you work hard, and again, I'm super fortunate, you're able to really diversify your roles. And you have a lot of opportunities down there. Most people work at Disney and Universal. So the people will be working at one show at Disney. They're also doing like a stunt show at Universal, or they're working at Harry Potter World. And it's definitely a super tight-knit community, almost like a large college,
Yeah, that's cool.
They call it the Disney bubble, just because you're just trapped there.
You're just in it. Yeah, you just hear the music on loop for your entire life.
Yeah. It's definitely stuck in my head.
Did you ever do anything at Universal?
I never did. I considered it. Thought about trying out. I hear there's gonna be like a Jason Bourne show, and I was like, oh, that would have been super fun to do. I could have been Jason Bourne.
Yeah,
I'd have done that in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
go and punch the guy with a book. That sounds great. Drive some Mini Coopers. But yeah, I never did anything at Universal. I thought about doing it. They have awesome attractions and shows over there, but I was never a part of any.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of friends who were, and they did great.
So in addition to all this, you also cosplay.
Right, yes.
So at Comic-Con this year, I saw you as Captain America.
Captain America.
Which was rad.
Such a hot costume.
Yeah.
It was awesome. That came together at the last minute. I had everything ready except for the actual fabric suit. Mm-hmm. And then that came in, and it was like, thank goodness. But they almost didn't let me in with the hammer or the shield.
Really?
They were like, yeah, that's their weapons. And that's my buddy Waltimus Prime there as Thanos. He won the costume contest, as you probably
great costume, man.
Yeah, you want to talk about sweaty.
I'm sure.
And you couldn't feel anything through that. But yeah, it was Captain America did that this year. I've done Spider-Man, all the things. That's on my web-headed hero account.
When I saw you there, it was me and Curran and all of them, and we saw you with your friend, who was also cosplaying as Captain America.
Yes.
And we made the joke that you heard 10,000 times that day of the looking at each other. I could do this all day.
Yeah, I know. Do this all. Yeah, it was that plus the hey, can we take a picture of your butts to have America's? And I was like,
ass.
Yep.
Yeah,
we'll
get
turn
at
around.
it, dude.
Hold
get
on.
after it.
Yeah, don't skip leg day. But yeah,
pull this up, Kev. Hell yeah.
Captain America in front of the flag. Man,
so rad.
Not a costume built for Orlando. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
It was very close to overheating, and it's super fun. You take that helmet off and you just pour out the water, all the sweat that's in it.
Great time.
Yeah.
So this is Comic-Con. You're doing the cosplay there, and then you're doing the Star-Lord stuff and all the Disney stuff in Florida. But you're from.
I'm from Athens, Georgia, which is near Atlanta. If you don't know where that is, it's the University of Georgia College Town.
Have you seen any of the Captain America movies being filmed at all?
Not in Athens, but Athens is about an hour away from Atlanta, but that's where they all film. And I've had friends who are extras in it. And I mean, my first acting role was an extra in a PlayStation exclusive show called Powers on PlayStation. So if you go back to that first season, you can find me as a almost way too young police officer, putting away a superhero or a villain in prison. But that was super cool. And that's how I got my, I was interested in acting, but I didn't know if I wanted to do it. So I was like, well, let me try this. I'm going to go and be an extra. And I think I ended up being a featured stand-in for a guy named Justice Leak. And he is a close friend of mine still, but he was on Supergirl and a bunch of things. But he kind of gave me the rundown, like, hey, here's how you start getting into this, and go to acting classes and start developing your film reel and work on your resume. And but Powers in Atlanta was the first start. So is that what you want to do? Like acting? Yeah, that's the dream. I am still finishing up my degree at the University of Georgia, just to be careful. You never know. You might get hit crossing the street, can't act anymore. So I'm finishing up the degree, but acting is the dream. I mean, phase 5 of the MCU, maybe I can cast me Kevin Feige, please. So if that were to be the case, like what character, what's the dream? So I don't know. They haven't cast Nova yet. I'll be Nova. Hell that sounds great. I will honestly take anyone. I'll take someone just being saved by Captain America. I mean, Nova though, that would be awesome. Really, really cool. And then DC, you're rebooting everything. You need a Green Lantern. I don't think you've got one of those yet. So I'll introduce myself. Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. So have you done any other acting besides the Power stuff and the Disney stuff? Yeah. So I did a bunch of short films. That's how everybody gets started: student films, short films, building that reel together, and that's really what got me to Disney. I've only been acting for 3.5, 4-ish years, maybe. So I didn't have a background in it. That's not what my family does. My mom's an etiquette and ballroom dance instructor. I lived that montage in Princess Diaries that was my life. And then my dad's in marketing. So no one really had that acting bug. So I've always loved movies and started working more and more on short films and student films. And then Disney needed someone to come do the commercials. And my awesome cousin, who I owe everything to, thank you, Mary Bennett, really, she was like, hey, go submit for this. So went in, sent a video audition in, and Disney was like, when can you move down? That's amazing. Yeah.
You must have been like, what the hell? I'm now about to be Star-Lord.
And I didn't tell anybody that I was like submitting for stuff because when you
never know.
When you audition so many times, you expect to hear back 99% of the time. So you just don't even start saying anything. So I called my mom. I was like, hey, I'm going to move down to Orlando and, go work for Disney. And she was like, what? Where did this come from? But it was a blessing for sure.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. When did you start considering yourself a Disney guy?
Like a Disney fan or like a Disney actor? Fan. So I've always been a fan for sure. More so of like the external properties that they bought, like huge Star Wars guy, huge Marvel guy. I think like my teething toy as a kid was a superhero action figure. I mean, it was just it was ingrained in me at a young age. So I've always been a Disney guy. I think I'm not too much into the prince stuff as some people are, but I've always enjoyed
I don't know
it.
what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. But I've always enjoyed it. Loved all of the properties and the movies, and Pixar, Incredibles, probably one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
But I probably really started becoming a Disney guy when I started working there, and I learned so much about it. I mean, there's so many things you don't know. Like, why is Main Street sloped upwards when you walk in? And it's because they want to slow you down while you're walking into the park. So you smell everything, you see all the storefronts, you might go buy stuff. But then it's also sloped, upwards when you're walking in because it's sloped downwards when you're walking out. If you're getting out, they want you out of there.
Yeah,
you're not spending money, and then the cheapest food you're going to find is like at the exit. Yeah. So there's so many fun things like that you learn that you just really appreciate it from either a business standpoint or a magic.
What are more things like that? Because now that I have you, I want to know all the secrets, man.
I mean, if you look at how far apart are the trash cans at Disney World or Disneyland, even Walt Disney would go and hand out candies to the attendees in the early days and would count how many paces it took for them to drop that little wrapper. And that's where he would put the trash cans. So things like that, things like you're super safe there. Like you don't see security, you don't see police or armed guards. But one of my friends has a story, and he was performing a show at Disney, and there was a heckler, a guy who was like stalking them and harassing them, and they had to alert security, like, hey, take care of this guy. And sure enough, during the show, like he gave the signal, like, hey, it's that guy over there. And the family who was looking at the storefront, and the couple who was making out over here, and the guy who was taking a selfie, all just kind of converged on him, and then just took him backstage, and he was never seen again. That's just Jesus. don't misbehave at Disney. I mean, right now there's probably a sniper trained on me if I go and give away any of their like proprietary secrets. But it's that, and then like there's security cameras everywhere. If you look up in the Liberty Bell and Liberty Square, I don't know if it's a Liberty Bell, but there's like a camera in there, and you're super safe. So it doesn't look like it, but it's that feeling of being safe. That's how Disney really makes their money. Yeah. When you go there, you're not worried about anything else.
Yeah, I'll never forget the first time I went to Disneyland. We went on the Monsters, Inc. ride.
Yes.
And me and my friends sat on one of the like just little rails, and like it looked totally fine. And it was like nighttime. There was no one else around us. And within not even 30 seconds, like 15 seconds, there was just PA all around us, like, get off the rail, like whatever. And I'm like, oh my God.
They're watching.
Where are they watching me? Like
everywhere.
Yeah,
it's cameras
crazy.
Everywhere. Yeah, you're a lot safer than you even think you are there, and you think you're pretty safe.
Yeah.
And there's also people who work there a lot in attractions who do really, maintain those rides and make sure everything's safe, and they run so many different, test runs and maintenance every night. It's really a 24/7 business. I mean, when the park closes, there's a whole team of trucks that drive in just to go and maintain it.
Yeah.
It takes a lot. I mean, there's a tree, I think, in Liberty Square, and in case that somehow breaks or it gets struck by lightning, they have another one growing off-site identical to it, where they just pull that broken one out, put the new one in, never know the wiser.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. So when you're going to the park every day, how often are you going on rides? If you have friends and attractions that are super nice enough to, like, hey, hop on, you go on pretty often, and you don't go without fast passes. Yeah. Especially at Disney World, because you're going to be waiting in lines in the Florida heat forever. And you know how that is. Yeah.
The Tower of Terror.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. That super hour and 40
there was some
wait.
issue where we couldn't get fast passes in Hollywood studios for things.
Yeah, there was a thing because the Tower of Terror ride had part of it shut down.
Yeah.
So there was only one elevator open.
We had to do it though.
But you haven't been on it yet.
It was worth it, man.
And
the difference between Disney World and Disneyland is so interesting because like World Land's the OG, but it definitely is kind of the greatest hits version where World is more like so much space and everything's bigger. And everyone, like when I was there, everyone was treating me like, oh, what's better? Like whatever. And it's just like, I love both of them, man.
They're different experiences.
It really is.
I've been to both, and it's, if you want a more concise version, and like you said, the greatest hits, go Disneyland. Yeah. And it's classic. And it's the one that started it all. But then if you like, I like this, but I want a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's when you go and you go to Disney World and they have extra rides. I mean, my favorite park is Animal Kingdom. And they don't have that at Disneyland. Yeah. So that's something that I love because you have like Expedition Everest, you have the Lion King show, which is one of my
underrated, man. I feel like the Lion King show is the most best kept secret. Right. That and Mickey's Magical Map in Disneyland are like the two things that just do not get enough love.
I hear great things about Mickey's Magical Map. Never seen it. Definitely have plans next time I go. I'm definitely gonna go watch it. But
it's great, man. It's like just like it's a stage show for all the like the lesser known Disney princesses,
which is great because there's so many that like Moana gets completely just and Merida.
Yeah,
like they completely get swept under the rug sometimes because they're not Cinderella, they're not Rapunzel or Belle. But it's crazy too about you see the lesser known princesses. Depending on what park you go to, that changes. Like in Paris, everything's Aurora. Yeah, that is their girl.
Yeah,
And I'm like, why is there so much Aurora stuff? But that's just what they love.
They love it. I mean, when I went to Disney Sea in Tokyo, like the amount of Aladdin love is just insane. It's like you don't see there's barely any Aladdin stuff.
I think you can meet Aladdin in Magic Kingdom, and then you can meet Jasmine with him, and then maybe in Epcot, but.
Yeah.
Other than that, you have the spitting camel over there and the magic carpet ride, and that's about all you have.
I love Disney so much, man. So, what are some of your favorite rides?
My favorite rides, I mean, Tower of Terror, Rock and Roller Coaster.
Rock and Roller Coaster, man. Yeah. So, and it's going to be rebranded soon, right?
Well, I think not that I've heard, unless you've heard something different.
Guardians, or is that a different?
That's a different ride. So there's a new Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster. I think it's Cosmic Rewind. That's coming out next year. Massive. I think it's the world's largest or longest, one of those indoor roller coasters. And it's like a storytelling roller coaster, and you're inside like a Milano-esque vehicle, and you're flying through this like super cool dark ride roller coaster. And
storytelling roller coasters, I'll believe it when I see it. Because so far, the only one that I've done is the Incredicoaster.
Okay.
And
that was sort of rebranded.
Totally, and it is a very weak storytelling. Cool ride. It's cool. I love it. Love the music. The Incredibles is awesome, but like the storytelling, you're like, all right, that is a very loose.
Have you been to Harry Potter World?
No.
Okay, so there's a ride that's called Gringotts, which is the bank they go to, and it's sort of a storytelling roller coaster like that. And this, Guardians is going to be more extreme, but Gringotts, they've nailed it.
Yeah.
So if it's anything like that, which is supposed to be a lot better even, then I think this new Guardians ride is going to knock your socks off. That one, and then they have a new ride that's called Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railroad, and then they're also bringing the Tron coaster over. So I think next year's their 50th anniversary for Disney World, so they're going all out.
Yeah, and there's the Ratatouille ride they're opening. That's right. Yeah. And there's some other stuff too, but and then we got Avengers coming, the Marvel Land coming.
I'm so jealous.
Woo!
I got to come back for when Marvel.
You got to, man.
I've never even been on the Guardians
Tower of Terror.
It's
so
Mission
good.
Breakout.
It's great.
Yeah, and I hear that's amazing. And Tower's one of my favorite rides. So
you're
gonna
love
that with Guardians, and it's perfect.
It's great.
Yeah.
Galaxy's Edge, though, I want to talk about that. Yes. Star Wars Land. I still haven't been.
Well, you got to fix that. You got to do it soon.
Yeah, I'm going this week. Okay. I'm actually going this week. Very excited about it. I know. So they just opened it in Disney World, right? Because it's been open in land for almost a year now, right?
I think it's been about 6 months, maybe.
6 months.
Yeah.
But they just opened it in Disney World. What is your experience with it?
It's amazing. If you're a Star Wars fan at all, you have to go. And the Smuggler's Run ride, I've never been that giddy in my life doing this ride. I mean, and you have to be the pilot. That's the thing. I'm not going to spoil it for you and what happens, but you have to be a pilot. If you don't have a good pilot, it's sort of like, if you play video games, which I'm sure most of this audience does, if you're ever in like Call of Duty and you're like doing like a tank ride and you're one of the gunners and the guy's just running into a wall, that can happen on Smuggler's Run. So make sure that you have a good pilot, because if you don't, Hondu, I think his name is Honda. I'm gonna get
Hondu.
Is that what his name is? But he's gonna get super sassy with you and sort of like, hey, see the white train? Follow that. You know, why are you going to the wall? So it happened to us once, but some random girls got on it. But the first time we went to Lightspeed, and I was like, punch it, and he went and pulled the Lightspeed. Oh man, it was the coolest thing,
dude. Because we went on the Avatar ride, the Flight of Passage, and that was incredible. I was so blown away by that. But like at the end of the day, Avatar isn't something that's like.
It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that
emotional thing, right? So it's like Star Wars, though, being in the Falcon,
and even in the queue, you know, just walking through, and there's a giant engine that you pass, and like people are working on it, and walking onto the Falcon the first time, and the pre-show waiting room is just, you got the holochess deck, you've got like alarm starts going off, you got to hit a button, and so they do a great job with the pre-show, which makes waiting in those long lines just so much worth it.
That is the Disney magic, though, right? Like just making sure that the entire thing is part of the experience, not just that you're waiting in a line to get to the good part.
Because you didn't get to go through it, but the Flight of Passage queue is actually so cool. You have like a full-size Na'vi character that's like floating in a tank. You have, you know, really awesome like glowing forests that are bioluminescent. And we fortunately got through the Fast Pass line because I think there was like a 4-hour wait. Whew. But yeah, it's the whole Disney Magic pre-show thing. They really pay attention to those deals.
Yeah, you gotta love it. You know what else you gotta love? Ads. Back to the show. You can go to the friend zone, what we call, over on patreon.com/kindafunny to write your questions in for our cool friends, just like Andy did. Andy says, hi, Andrew. I'm heading over from London to Disney World next week. I just wanted to ask from the perspective of a cast member, what do you recommend as essential activities?
Ooh, so that's tough because we'll do a ride and a show and then something to see. So you kind of have each. So, you know, a show for me, the Lion King show. It's called Festival of the Lion King, or Folk, if you abbreviate it. Gotta see it. You've got crazy gymnastics, you know, acts and fire and acrobatics. It's definitely worth a watch and super underrated.
It's in a small theater too. Yes. There's a lot of show. They go through a lot of the songs. They do Be Prepared, which I did not expect.
And it's live singing. Like they sing those songs, which is ridiculous.
Live singing, live dancing, live crazy gymnastics, and like flipping, like the monkeys are flipping around and doing stuff. And the pyro is so close to you.
Especially for us, because we had that VIP seat.
We were front row, and it was insane, man.
Yeah, you feel that heat.
Yeah, so definitely, that would be the show you recommend.
Definitely show Festival of the Lion King, and then for the ride, I mean, you have your classics like Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster and Expedition Everest, which are great. But also, like if you're the Star Wars fan and you haven't had a chance to go to Disneyland yet, you want to go to Galaxy's Edge, definitely do Smuggler's Run. It's great. But you know, you have your options, and then something to see. I mean, just go to Magic Kingdom, see the castle, take in Main Street, take in the smells, the sights, the sounds. It's magical. You know, it's hard to see or to miss. And you definitely got to check out that fireworks show, the Magic Kingdom fireworks show. How do you skip it?
It's insane, man. It was so impressive. If I were to give a shout out though to something you need to see, it would undeniably be Pandora at Night.
Pandora at Night.
I don't care how much you care about Avatar or don't care about Avatar. Animal Kingdom at night was stunning.
So you want to hear a fun fact about that?
I do.
Which was, it was supposed to be a lot cooler. And they were supposed to have fiber optic, like LED driven lights in the floor. But instead they had to change it to have just like fluorescent paint, but they didn't alert maintenance to that. So they went through with high pressure washers and just started washing off all the bioluminescent paint. So it just started like, they had to go run out because they spent millions of dollars to make this thing. But it's super cool. I mean, all the plant life you see there, I had to learn about it a lot.
Yeah, wait, can you talk about that a bit?
I can talk about it because I was going to go and do a show there. That was the Pandora Utility Suit show. And it's super cool. I think it's actually closing down now because we had to improvise and learn about weird plants like bladder polyps and spiny whips and what they taste like and Thanator tracks and all these different things that if you ask the cast members who live there, they should be able to tell you a lot about it. And it has so much lore and story building in it. It's definitely worth checking out.
It was unreal to be walking around Pandora with you and you just be like, that's a spiny whip. It was, and you'd have all of these facts where I'm just like, nobody knows this much about Avatar.
It was a month of my life. Yeah. And I have textbooks on it. It's deep. James Cameron goes in.
Oh,
hard.
definitely.
Yeah.
It was really cool though, because they did such an amazing job of making it a different world and like making you believe where you are, especially at night. Because when it gets to nighttime, everything's glowing purple and blue, and the sounds that everything's making. But that area, since it's one of the newer lands in any of the Disney parks, it's so cool to see the weird gimmicky stuff that you could do. Where it's like if you stand here and touch this wall, then things will happen.
It's like there's a tree, and if you touch one of these little like seed, like tree seed pods, you hear the weird bugs that are in the tree, and then if you wave your hand over this weird alien creature, it shoots water up in the air to try to knock like a bird down. It's it's super interactive.
And it's stuff that's like not obvious. Like you just might accidentally do it and be like, oh man, and then it's like, oh cool, and you kind of learn it, and there's this like almost hidden language to some of the parts.
It's so cool, and it's also kind of sad in a way of like, I wish more people knew about this because it's so cool. Like, well, yeah, and if you look over here, these Thanator tracks, they actually lead this way. The only ones you can find, and it's actually about, this is the biggest predator that they have, and they have so much lore that goes into it. If you look it up, you can find a lot of it, but definitely check out Pandora.
Mitch Crayson writes in and says, hey, Andrew, what was the audition process like for everything you've worked for at Disney? Do you just do a great job as Star-Lord and then were selected to do more, or did you audition to be the press one?
So I was very fortunate, again. Like I had a lot of acting experience beforehand. I had the reel. I had some good resume builders. So when I submitted for the role, initially they just had like a side to read, so I was going to go and read the script. But then I was like, that's not good enough. So I added my own dance-off at the end of it with a bunch of my own Star-Lord inspired dance moves, and that kind of won them over. And after that,
did you name the moves? Like, were they like?
Of course, I had the orbit. I had like rocketing away from Ronan. I had Drax, which was just stood there like this. But and you had the Baby Groot moves. It was you had to have them all space themed.
Yeah, the
moonwalk was definitely part of it.
Of course, naturally.
Yeah. So I submitted the video. They asked me to move down. After that, super lucky. It's not how it normally is. The roles just kind of came in.
Yeah.
I had a very specific look that wasn't really, present down in Orlando. So I was very fortunate to have a lot of roles, a lot of shows, and I did go to auditions with a friend of mine, who will remain nameless, but he always wanted to go and like, I got to go to this audition because we can get this thing. And he would always get cut like first thing. And I was just there to support him. And then I would just go on and get the role that he wanted. So I ended up not going with auditions to take him anymore. But yeah, so it's just, they have auditions all the time. And if you go and look at the Disney casting site, you can go find their auditions, and they always look for new guys and new girls. It's a lot harder for girls than it is guys. If you go to an audition for girls and guys, it's like 600 people.
Yeah. Wow.
So
everyone wants to be a Disney princess.
Yeah.
Self included.
You can do it.
I know. I just
got
gotta
those
believe.
baby blues.
Just gotta believe. But Michael T writes in, says, question for Andrew. Hello, Mr. Lord.
Wow.
And KF host.
That's the right way to address me, by the way.
My wife and I have never been to Disney World and have been saving up for almost 2 years now and plan to go next year for our 5th wedding anniversary. What worlds and events would you recommend for a couple of just over 30-year-olds with no kids? Any other advice is welcome as well. Thanks, and I hope to meet you next year at Disney World.
Yeah.
Hashtag Greg sucks.
Hashtag Greg sucks. So I'll give some kind of like lesser known things. There's a cool photo opportunity with lanterns that you can have near the Castle of Magic Kingdom, where you can each hold a lantern and it like illuminates your face, and it's like the Rapunzel tangled scene.
Yeah.
So that's super cool. There's a bit of a line though, so make sure you get there on time. I can't remember exactly what time it is, but it's around dusk. Go take your photo with that. That's really cool. Always tell, the characters. If you go meet the characters, go say, hey, we're celebrating coming to Disney for the first time, and they'll normally have a cool storyline for you. That's the great thing about all these Disney characters you meet. They've lived some crazy lives. They'll come up with some really cool things, but you just met your loved one. Well, when I met Flynn Rider, if I'm Rapunzel, all these crazy things happen, and you'll have some really unique storylines.
That's cool.
Yeah, and there's so many fun things to do as couples. There's a lot of 2-seater rides and shows to go see. I think the main thing that I would recommend is go to the fireworks in Magic Kingdom and be prepared to cry.
Yeah, be prepared, man. They get you. Those shows are so well produced to make you feel and go on a journey. You know what I mean? As you go through the whole thing, there's always like the ups and downs, and the good guys, bad guys, and then there's always the romance parts. And it's just like, oh man, this is hitting hard.
Yeah, but definitely do those things. Rapunzel photo opportunity is pretty cool. But honestly, everything. I mean, I have fun going on Prince Charming's carousel, and I'm way too old for that. So probably almost broke it.
You got to love, though, in addition to them having the storylines, like I feel like the cast members are all so genuinely excited to be there and to like make your experience better. So if you were to tell them like, oh, it's our anniversary, like
absolutely,
they'll go out of their way to try to like hook you up if they can in
let them
whatever
know.
situation.
I mean, even when you were there, I went over and was like, hey, you know, it's my friend's first time at Disney.
Yeah.
And we're trying to, you know, get some more fast passes, but we're not sure if we're going to be able to make it to Space Mountain. And they're not always going to be able to help you.
Of course.
You know, they call it making magic because, you know, magic's not easy. And neither are, you know, getting some of these fast passes, but let them know, you know, they might be, oh yeah, let me help you get on this, you know.
Which is great.
Yeah,
you know, it's just
always
very
accommodating.
Such a cool, fun thing. And like, in addition to the stories, in addition to like making the experience this crazy, like almost role playing.
Yeah. You know, and they're in it. I mean, if you go to Galaxy's Edge and ask for a Coca-Cola, they're not going to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We don't have that, but we have this. And you're like, okay, got it. Well, give me that.
Yeah.
You know, but still,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's pretty cool. They have great world building, but then along with that, just for my fellow cast members' sake, they're there normally working like a 12-hour shift. So if you're upset that Minnie needs to go and check on Mickey for 30 minutes, just relax. You know, they're having a long day too, you know, just like you, and they want to make sure you get the best out of it. So if Minnie needs to go take a break, she'll be back in 2 minutes. I promise, you know, so be a little patient with them sometimes. You never know what might be going on.
Jamie writes in and says, what's some crazy shit you've seen go down at Disney?
Oh, gosh. I mean, from fist fights to girls following me to my house.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. It got so bad that I had to be escorted by like a team of like Secret Service like to and from the stage. Was followed home 3 times by one girl, followed to my truck by another girl, followed and waited by like the cast exits by other girls. It's, you know, it comes with some of the status stuff, but geez, you have some of that, and then you have just people watching there is great. You know, you'll see some, you know, crazy things in a good way. Like you see lots of proposals there, and that's awesome. You see some really crazy, amazing things like a little kid meeting Mickey for the first time, and that he's been waiting forever. You know, one of my favorite memories, which was a crazy funny thing, was there was a little kid, he was meeting Star-Lord, and you know, Star-Lord told him, hey, you know, cross your arms, stand like an outlaw, or put your hands on your hips. Well, he didn't learn where his hips were yet. He was too young. So, you know, he went to the full range of head, shoulders, knees, and toes. No, none of those. And had to go figure out, like, okay. And he just kind of put them, like, haphazardly on his knees and looked up at Star-Lord just like, is this good? And then, yeah, man, that's...
Nailed it.
We'll take the photo. It works. You know? But, yeah, so it's you see lots of magic, you know, crazy good things, you know, some crazy weird things, but mostly you just see lots of magic being made, which is great.
Yeah. Did you get to be part of many of those type of moments?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the best thing to see is, you know, when I was working friends with Prince Charming, who wants to talk to Prince Charming? He has 2 lines in the movie, which is, wait, stop, but didn't you know? And that's it. You know, it's he doesn't really say too much, but the little girls in their tiaras clutching their wand, meeting Cinderella for the first time. It's like they've been waiting for this for months, you know? And then, you know, little kid that would come up and meet Star-Lord, and it's like, I haven't seen your movies yet because I'm too young, but I watched your cartoon show, and let me tell you everything that happened. You're like, dude, go for it.
Go for it, man. Yeah, give me the full synopsis, man.
Yeah, it's, you know, you get the full range of that, and then you'll find people where, you know, they're meeting Goofy for the first time, and they lost their dad, but they love Goofy, and you know, seeing Goofy is like seeing their dad again. You know, it's crazy the connections that you can have there, and the people that you see with those emotional ties to, you know, the magic of Disney.
I mean, how crazy is it that the magic of Disney now includes a Guardian of the Galaxy, Star-Lord, making a little kid's day?
Yeah.
Like, these characters are so iconic.
I've seen so many children, like if Star-Lord's like, hey, do a dance move, they drop down and do a split, and it's terrifying because I'm like, have you done this before? Is this new? And normally the parents are just as shocked as everyone else in the room is, but you know, the little kids are rubber, man. They bounce off of walls.
Yeah,
and stuff.
totally.
Yeah.
So are there characters at Disney, or any not just characters? Like, is there anything that you haven't done yet that you wish that you could?
You know, there's a show at Hollywood Studios called the Indiana Jones Stunt Show or Stunt Spectacular. Our epic stunt show spectacular. Anyways, it's ridiculously cool.
So cool.
Lots of explosions, gunfights, high falls. It's definitely worth checking out. I would have loved to have been a stuntman on that. Everything else, I was very fortunate that I got to do everything else, except for I never got to work on a show called Fantasmic, which they have at Disneyland.
Yeah.
I hear it's better at Disneyland,
to
be honest.
It definitely is.
But it's still pretty cool at Disney World. If you're there at Hollywood Studios, definitely check it out. But those were two things I wanted to do. But other than that, I got to go up on the castle stage. I got to go down Main Street. It was
so cool.
I got the full experience. So I did most of the things I wanted to do.
What would you want to do in Fantasmic?
Oh, gosh. So John Smith goes and swings across the top, and they go, "Look, it's John Smith." And he swings. I just want to be John Smith. Oh, yeah. Man.
In Disneyland, it's Peter Pan.
It's Peter Pan.
And then, it used to be, and now it's Jack Sparrow.
Peter Pan was my boy growing up, but then I got this voice, and they went to about 6 foot, 200 pounds, and it wasn't going to happen. I came to terms with that real soon.
Yeah. You look good in green. Little green tights.
I could get it. Give me that little feather in my hat.
So, okay, you do the Disney stuff. You do the cosplay stuff. You're trying to be an actor. Mm-hmm. How can people support you, find you?
Well, go follow me at the Andrew McLean on Instagram, or if you're really into geek stuff, I also have at Webheaded Hero. It's on either whatever account you choose. Everything in the bio is linked. And then
because you have 3 accounts, right?
I have 4 accounts.
4? Why? That's too much. So what are they?
So the reason is because I draw, and I'm a personal trainer on the side, and I like to keep those separate.
I don't believe you.
Yeah, no, I don't.
There's no evidence at all.
This is just a really nice muscle suit that I have. But yeah, so I have those separate because for some reason, if I post art on my normal account, it gets no likes and I lose about 200 followers. Yeah. So, and that way you don't have to follow everything. If you don't want to see me shirtless, you don't have to. If you do want to see me shirtless, there you go. So
mad are the people. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm sure Nick's in the other room. I know which one he's following. You gotta love it.
So at the Andrew McLean, it links to everything. And then if you're super geeky, go follow at Webheaded Hero.
Hell yeah, man. Dude, thank you so much for coming through.
Thanks for having
we've been trying to make this happen for a long time, so I'm happy.
I'm glad we were able to.
Yeah, because this was great. You were so awesome when we went down to Florida. Next time I'm there, which I will be back.
Sweet.
We will reunite. I'm sure I'll see you at many other Comic-Cons and events like that.
Of course, I'll be there.
Hell yeah, man. Any final words?
I am Groot.
Fantastic. Until then, I love you.